A local man is making a big impact on the students and staff at St. Mary's High School. He is a former commissioner for the West Virginia Division of Corrections and currently helps the football team and keeps the clock for boys and girls basketball games. Logan Riggenbaugh hit the court with Rubenstein at St. Mary's High School for our This Is Home feature.
This is Home, sponsored by A1 Heating and Cooling and TB Dentistry.
Jim Rubenstein has volunteered at St. Mary's High School since 2017. Prior to volunteering, he worked in the West Virginia Division of Corrections for 33 years. He started out as a correctional officer and moved up the ranks. He served as the commissioner of the Division of Corrections for 16 years. He originally lived in Grafton, West Virginia, before moving to St. Mary's in late 2013. Since he helped transform the St. Mary's Correctional Facility into what it is now, he was very familiar with the area and found a love for the small town feel with easy access to larger towns and cities like Parkersburg and Marietta. After his retirement, he met St. Mary's coach Jody Moat. Jim volunteered to help in the weight room and with football. Jim says he always helps where he can.
I just was raised up in Thomas in Tucker County, and my brothers and I were always taught to try to give back and to play things forward.
He began helping with football, weightlifting, and running the clock for the boys and girls basketball games. Jim has also taken on a mentoring role at the school. He says he helps students by teaching them about life.
You know, just being able to be around the student athletes and just sort of talk to them about life lessons, things that I've learned, sometimes the hard way.
Jim became the site coordinator for communities in schools a little over a year ago. He helps students receive help with food, clothing, housing, medical, and dental needs. Jim believes helping others is the best way to pay things forward.
Just sort of hoping that you're giving a hand up, and if you can help somebody and it makes sense to them, that they, you know, will pay that forward and just make us a better state and a better community.
Over the years, he has seen many students go on to live successful lives. He says it's fulfilling to see his former students thrive.
It's very, you know, heartwarming. I mean, it really is. And like I said, there's such a great team here at the high school and within the community that really wraps their arms around, you know, the kids and wants them to be successful and stresses that.
Jim has left a lasting impact on the students and faculty at St. Mary's High School. He says he is thankful for everyone he has worked with.
You know, I'm very blessed and honored to have that opportunity, and like I said, to be able to work with such a fine group of professionals and people whose heart and heads are in the right place, and just to be part of that team.
His impact extends beyond helping with sports. He takes the time to get to know the students on a more personal level. Howard Meeks, the assistant principal of St. Mary's High School, says Jim's impact goes farther than we realize.
The impact that we see day to day really doesn't signify how much he really does. It's those private connections, you know, in the lunchroom, talking to one and getting to know our student athletes, and he just has a unique way of touching people.
Reporting from St. Mary's, I'm Logan Riggenbaugh for WTAP News. This is Home.